Okay, we've all had that moment, right? You're rushing to finish something important and bam, your computer just gives up on you. You get the frozen screen, some weird error message you don't understand, and you just want to toss the whole thing out the window. But what if I told you there's a much better way to handle it?
You know that feeling? It's like your tech has a personal vendetta against you, choosing the worst possible moment to fail. But here's the thing. Your computer isn't evil. It's not out to get you. It's actually incredibly logical. And when something goes wrong, it's not just breaking, it's leaving clues.
So let's completely flip how we think about this. That isn't a broken machine sitting on your desk. No, I want you to see it as a, a digital crime scene. This isn't just a malfunction, it's a mystery. And today you and we're going to put on our detective hats and figure out how to solve it.
All right, here's our game plan. We're going to start by treating the problem like a digital crime scene. Then we'll dive into the detective's method, learn how to gather clues and identify our prime suspects. After that, we'll crack the case, and finally, we'll see how this whole approach works for way more than just computers.
Okay, so what's the secret to solving any mystery? Well, every great detective, think Sherlock Holmes, think modern forensics, they all have a system. They don't just guess. They use something called root cause analysis, and it's exactly what it sounds like, digging past all the distracting symptoms to find the one single thing that kicked off the whole mess.
So here it is, our 5-step method. First, you've got to define the mystery. What's actually happening? Second, we gather the clues. Every piece of evidence matters. Third, we line up the suspects, all the things that could be the cause. Fourth, and this is the big one, we find the root cause. And finally, step 5, we crack the case with a fix that makes sure this problem never comes back.
All right, let's get to it. The investigation officially starts now. And what's the first thing you do at any crime scene? You collect evidence. You gather clues. For us, that means looking at the data, really observing what's going on, and interviewing the witnesses, even if the only witness is you, trying to remember exactly what you clicked right before everything went haywire.
Now, sometimes the biggest clue is the most obvious one. It's so easy to overthink these things, but trust me, before you start tearing everything apart, every good detective and every good IT person is going to tell you the same thing. Check the easy stuff first.
Seriously, is it plugged in? Are all the cables connected tightly? I'm not kidding. You would be absolutely shocked at how many catastrophic computer failures are fixed by just plugging something back in. It's the first thing you should always check.
Okay, but it's not always a loose cable, right? Sometimes the clues are a little more mysterious. The computer is actually trying to talk to you, to tell you what's hurting. The problem is it speaks in code, and our job as detectives is to learn how to break that code.
And this is where it gets really fascinating. You know those beeps your computer makes when it won't start up? That's not just random noise. That's Morse code for computer problems. It's a distress signal. Just look at this chart here. One short beep, it could be a problem with your RAM. One long and 2 short beeps, now we're looking at the display card. The computer is literally telling you where to look.
Okay, so we've gathered some clues. Now it's time to start narrowing things down and identify our prime suspects. In the world of tech problems, almost everything boils down to one of 2 main culprits. And figuring out which one you're dealing with, that's probably the single most important step in the whole investigation.
And here is the million-dollar question. Are we dealing with a hardware problem or a software problem? Think of it like this. Hardware is the physical stuff, the brain, the bones, the body of the computer. Software is the thoughts, the instructions, the personality. Is the tool broken or are the instructions wrong? Just answering that one question literally cuts your list of suspects in half.
And this visual makes it super clear. Over here, we've got a stick of RAM. That's hardware. You can hold it in your hand. And over here, a system recovery screen. That's pure software. It's code. Figuring out which of these 2 worlds your problem lives in is the key to solving it fast.
So we've got our clues, we've got our suspects. Now comes the moment of truth, finding the root cause. See, it's not enough to know what happened. We need to know why it happened. And to really drive this point home, I want to share a powerful, real-world story that has absolutely nothing to do with tech.
This timeline is from an actual investigation into a serious incident. The problem on the surface, a patient was injured when a lift collapsed. But a good detective doesn't stop there. They ask why. Why did the lift collapse? Well, it couldn't handle the weight. Okay, why was the wrong lift being used? Was it a training issue, or was the right lift broken, or were they labeled in a confusing way? You see, you have to keep digging, asking why, until you hit a dead end. That's your root cause.
And this brings us to a really important rule for any investigation. This process is not about finding someone to blame. It's about finding a problem with the system. It has to be a blame-free zone. When people aren't afraid of getting in trouble, they'll tell you what really happened. And that's how you fix the process, not punish the person.
And this right here is the whole point of our detective work. It's the difference between a quick fix and a real solution. On one side, you have weak actions. Things like sending a memo or doing more training. That's basically just hoping people don't make mistakes. On the other side, you have strong actions. This is where you change the system itself. You simplify things, you standardize the tools, you use what are called forcing functions, which is a fancy way of saying you make it physically impossible to do the wrong thing. That is how you solve a problem permanently.
So, there you have it. That's how you solve a tech problem like a detective. But I bet you figured out by now, this was never really about computers, was it? What we've been talking about is a powerful way to think, a framework you can use to solve almost any problem. It's like a new superpower.
Think about it. That big project that went sideways at work? Don't just blame someone. Use this method to find the real flaw in the process. That recurring argument you keep having? Stop focusing on the surface-level fight and look for the root cause of the miscommunication. Seriously, this detective mindset can help you untangle the trickiest problems you face at work and in your personal life.
So from now on, when you hit a wall and something breaks, I want you to try this. Don't get frustrated, get curious. Don't see a malfunction, see a mystery. Gather your clues, line up your suspects, and hunt for that root cause. You have the framework now. The only question left is, what mystery in your life are you ready to solve?